Check it out. This is a blade from Brous Blades. The designer, Jason Brous, if you don't know who he is, he's a custom knife maker who makes high-end knives in the $200 to $500 price range. And this one is called the Silent Soldier. And there are lots of videos on YouTube already on this knife. You've probably seen this knife on Instagram all over the place because it's a very unique knife and it's a cool, higher-end, high-quality knife. It's a flipper, and it's just a really cool design. It's got that finger hole in the front so you can really get a good grip on this. Some say it's kind of nice to have that hole so if you open your hands up you won't drop the knife. So that's kind of nice. Maybe you could even, you know, grab a firearm with this if you still had to without dropping the knife. So, yeah, it's just a cool artistic factor as well as being functional as well. And it's got that big flipper thing there that also keeps your finger from either moving forward if you had to thrust. It's like a hand stop, so to speak. But also you can put your finger in there. It just gives you more of a ergonomic grip, which is impossible to break this grip unless somebody chopped your freaking hand off. It's got G10 handle scales, which is pretty nicely machined and sanded down to be nice and flush. The blade itself is 2.5 inches long, so this is legal in most states in the United States. Usually 3 inches is the limit. 2.5 inches, you can put this in your pocket, not be considered concealed carrying. It's about 3/16 inches thick, which is pretty beefy. That's a pretty beefy blade there for such a small knife. If you look up here, it's got square cut jimping with cross cut enhancements, which is pretty unique. I like that. Feels good when you're gripping this thing. It really does give you something to grab onto so you can have control over the knife. I really like that a lot. See if we can focus in on that. It's a D2 steel, which is really strong, durable steel that's going to last a long time. It's got a rockwell hardness of 59 to 61. It's a liner lock type style. And if you don't know what liner lock is, obviously it's the little piece of metal that locks the blade into the locked position. Pretty standard on most knives. But this one, if you look on the machining and craftsmanship on that liner lock, it's outstanding. And then it's got like these little scallops on the inside. I don't know exactly what they do, but they're probably more for just so you can feel where that is. It's just a nice little touch. That's the artistic touch that he puts on his knives. It's 3.65 inches closed, so it's a very tiny knife. As you can see, it fits in my hand. I mean, you can conceal this thing and use it as a punch enhancer, so to speak. Leave a little bit out and hit bony areas or muscle areas of someone's body if you're using this in a defensive capacity. But it is thick. It's pretty dang thick. I don't know exactly how thick that is, but it weighs 4 ounces, so it's not one of the lighter ones out there. For such a small knife, it is actually pretty heavy. It's 6.37 inches long in the open position, the overall length, which is still pretty small. I mean, that is a small knife. There's no way around it. It's a small knife. But this is more of a get-off-me knife, you know. You whip this out to open up a box, to open up packages, or to just use it as a backup if you're in law enforcement, military security, whatever. Somebody's got you on the ground. You can't get to your other weapons. You pull this knife out. You pull this knife out and you effect a release and create distance and get away. Draw your weapon. Do what you got to do. It's got a deep carry pocket clip, which is really nice. I love that setup. My Spyderco Man X2 has the same kind of setup where it goes all the way to the very back. I like that a lot. And it's swappable. You can put it on the other side as well. It's got a tip-up carry design, meaning that when this sits in your pocket, as you can see that clip right there, when that sits in your pocket, you reach in, you grab it, pull it out, hit that flipper, and it's ready to go. And that's pretty much the way you're going to want to carry this thing with the tip up because it has that flipper on there. Of course, if you flipped it this way, you'd have to grab it and then reposition yourself. So I think that's probably the most optimal way to carry this, which is why it's only designed for that style. Let's take another look at that blade. I'm not a knife expert, by the way, like Cutlery Lover and Nothing Fancy and all those other knife experts out there. So pardon me and forgive me if I say anything wrong. But this one has a nice dark finish on it. I believe this is kind of like a stone wash, which is kind of nice. And the reason why I like this kind of finish is over time, as it fades and wears down, you start to see some of the highlights on there, on those edges, which is nice. I like that. Some people may not like that, but I like that. And then the grind on this, it feels like it's a hollow grind. I almost thought it was a chisel grind, but it's actually, I feel like a curve on there slightly. So I think that's a hollow grind with a secondary bevel up there that's not sharpened. That's probably mostly for aesthetics and probably to give it some rigidity as well. I'm not a knife expert, so I don't really know. But yeah, pretty cool design for sure. The pivot screw is fairly big and it uses a torx style pivot screw, which is nice. And lastly, let me talk about the flipper mechanism on here. And if you've seen a Brous Blades video before, you already know all about this. But again, it is a flipper design. And the nice thing about the design of this flipper is that it's not actuated by pulling it down going this way. That's not how you actuate it. You can pull it down and it's not really going to deploy when you pull it down. How you do this is you actually use it like a button and you push straight down and it like fires out. I don't know how that's possible. Maybe there's a detent in there that helps build up pressure as you push, but it really rockets out when you push that down like a button. So just remember that if you buy this knife, it's not a pull down action, it's a button action. There's pulling it down, see? Pulling it down, I want to pull it down as hard as I can. See? I pulled that down pretty hard, but then when you push straight down, it pops out. So that's just a cool little feature. So there you go. That is a quick look at the Brous Blades Silent Soldier with the G10 handle scales. I'd like to thank the Late Boyscout actually for lending this to me. I actually ended up keeping this a little bit too long. He sent this to me right when I was buying my house. So I actually misplaced this knife for a long time. Let's just say a month or so. So sorry, man. You know, Late Boyscout, dude, I appreciate it. He did offer to give me the knife. He said, no, go ahead and keep it. But you know what? I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to send it back to him so he can send it to another worthy YouTuber to review and enjoy as well. Go over to Late Boyscout's channel on YouTube and check him out. He's an awesome gun guy, awesome knife guy, and just an awesome guy in general to even send me this knife like he did and not even complain. I'm surprised I never got an email from him saying, hey man, what the hell? What's up with my knife? So I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man. All right, so if you want to learn more about Jason Brous and his designs, go over to brousblades.com and check out his website and see what he's got down there. Take care.